Yay! Welcome to the PRH Buzz Books panel. Woo! We are your hosts tonight. I guess we're going to go down the line and just introduce ourselves and say what we do, where we work, which division. I'm Jordan. I'm a publicist for Del Rey.
Hi, I'm Lyana. I work for Penguin Young Readers, and I'm in marketing. Oh my God! Y'all are sweet.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a senior editor at Berkley.
Hi, I'm Anne. I'm a marketer at Doubleday Books.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and I am a marketer on the digital team for Random House Kids.
And I'm Brittanie. I'm a publicist with Penguin Random House Audio.
Heck yeah. So I think to start us off, everyone can see the slide, so I was going to read the titles out, but if everyone can see, then we're all good. The way this is going to work is we have a bunch of titles in this lovely presentation that we put together, and so we're going to talk a little bit about the books we're excited about. They're kind of divided up by genre, theme. I can't even remember the themes we picked, but we're all about to find out together. It's an adventure. So I think without further ado, Beasts of Ruin.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Beasts of Ruin is the second book to the New York Times bestselling book, Beasts of Prey. It's a sci-fi, fantasy, Afro, inspired by Nigerian folklore. Can you hear me better now? Okay, cool. And in this book, we're seeing our two main characters struggle with the choices that they have to make to save each other. And we have this book available and also Beast of Prey at our booth.
Oh yeah, booth 1515. Come see us if you haven't already. I probably should have said that first.
Yeah, and I think next is the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches.
That's me. Okay, so The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana. Sangu was actually here, so the other booth you can check out is the Mysterious Galaxy, because they might have some signed copies if you're interested. So this is a romantic fantasy in the vein of Practical Magic, but set in England. And Sangu on a panel described it so wonderfully the other day when she just said it's like a warm hug. You know, it's the ultimate feel-good read. So if you're looking for that, we have it for you. It's about a witch who has been taught her whole life that she has to hide her magic. And then she gets called on to help a fellow witch control her powers. And so she goes to this British manor house, and of course there is a very handsome but grumpy librarian. So my romance-loving heart was just swooning all over for it. So it's great. You should go check it out.
Heck yeah, and the Golden Enclaves is me. So Naomi's been in the game a long time. Any fans of Uprooted or Spinning Silver or Temeraire? That's all Naomi. This is the third in the Scalmance trilogy, the third and final. Whoop whoop. If you read A Deadly Education or The Last Graduate, your therapy pills are probably piling up because of those endings. But this is the triumphant conclusion to that saga. Orion, what happened? Not going to make any spoilers, but what happens to the students when they escape the Scalmance? So you have to read the first two. I can't really say much about the content of this without huge spoilers for the first two if you haven't read them. But A Deadly Education is one of the best books that I've ever started and then could not put down until I finished. And everybody says that, every publicist says that, but this actually was one of those books. So if you have not already checked out the Scalmance series, you really should. You're missing out. We have, I believe, copies for sale at 1515, but if not, just add it to your Goodreads and buy it later, wherever books are sold, not Amazon.
All right, Dragon's Promise is me. Dragon's Promise is from Elizabeth Lim, and it will be out the end of August. It's the second book in the duology that began with 6 Crimson Cranes. So you journey to a kingdom of dragons, star-crossed love, and a cursed pearl with the power to mend the world or to break it. So fans of Shadow and Bone will devour this soaring fantasy from the acclaimed author of Spin the Dawn. Very brief summary. To keep her promise to return the dragon's pearl to its rightful owner, Princess Shiori ventures to the dangerous kingdom of dragons where she has to navigate political intrigue and fend off thieves. All the while, the pearl thrums with malevolent power. It will take every ounce of strength Shiori can muster to defend the life and the love she's fought so hard to win. It's a mashup of Asian folklore, the wild swans, and more. So there's romance, adventure, intrigue, and Liz draws on her cultural background in her stories. Spin the Dawn had fantastic reviews, and her Twisted Tales for Disney recently hit the New York Times list. So we're going to have the paperback of 6 Crimson Cranes available the same day. While we don't have Dragon's Promise here, we do have 6 Crimson Cranes for purchase down at our booth if you want to get started on the duology now.
The covers are so good. Oh my God, 6
I love
Crimson
it.
Cranes. If you're a cover head, highly recommend checking it out.
And I'm going to keep on the dragon theme with When Women Were Dragons by Kelly Barnell. So you maybe know The Girl Who Drank the Moon, which was her middle grade book that won the Newbery years ago, or actually her other new middle grade book, Ogress and the Orphans, was a New York Times bestseller. But this is her adult debut, but it's also an amazing YA crossover. Basically, in 1950, 100,000 women turned into dragons, took to the skies. Did some of them eat their husbands? I don't know. Don't worry about it. And they flew away. So this is actually the story of a young girl reckoning with this in the past. And it's her coming to terms with the fact that her aunt left her young daughter, who now sort of becomes her sister, and no one will talk about this quote-unquote mass dragoning. So she's coming of age, and she's also a woman in mathematics. She's trying to make it in academia as a woman in the 1960s, and her rage is growing as well. She sort of begins to understand why you might want to turn into a dragon and eat a husband also. So I think it's fantastic. We're entirely sold out at the booth, but please go buy it at your local bookstore or get it from your librarian. Libraries are such an important plot point in the book as well. It is such a fantastic book for book lovers.
Okay, and Nubia the Awakening is also me. It's an exciting Afro-futurist fantasy from popular actor and producer Omar Epps. You might know Omar Epps from his roles in Juice and Love and Basketball, and as Dr. Eric Foreman on House, as well as in Too Deep, Shooter, and This Is Us. Nubia is his first novel, and it is a YA novel. It's the powerful saga of 3 teens, the children of refugees from a fallen African utopia who must navigate their newfound powers in a climate-ravaged New York City. It's fast-paced, action-packed, and accessible escape, is also a thought-provoking conversation starter for topics such as climate change, socioeconomic divides, refugee life, and displacement. The novel introduces 2 positive and dynamic Black male protagonists to the exciting and vital surge of popular epic fantasies like Children of Blood and Bone, Gilded Ones, and Iron Widow that center on Black characters. The striking cover that you see up there is by celebrated Afro-futurist artist Adeyemi Adegesban. So we're really excited about that. And then an update for Comic-Con is that Omar will be here tomorrow. He'll be doing a panel with his editor, Kristen Marino, all about the book at 11:15 in room 6DE. And if you're interested in meeting him and getting a free advanced copy, you can line up between 7 and 9 tomorrow for the chance to get one of only 100 tickets to the signing that will be after the panel. Yep.
Awesome. Oh boy. You're about to get a lot of me. So the first book we have here, these are old favorites, new books. These are authors who, you might be familiar with, you might have read one of their other books, but they have new series coming out or new novels. The first here is The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. And Wes Chu, #1 New York Times bestselling author. He's a martial arts expert. He's here at San Diego Comic-Con. I believe he has another signing tomorrow.
Yes, he does.
Booth 1515. I believe it's a giveaway.
Yes, it is.
It's a giveaway. But this book is for anybody who loves Michelle Yeoh, likes martial arts, likes Chinese mythology-inspired fantasy novels, and likes to read action sequences. So I loved this book. It's amazing. Definitely check it out. And also that cover is just fantastic. The second, obviously, if you're familiar with Mexican Gothic or Velvet Was the Night, Sylvia Moreno Garcia, she is, a master. Everybody says she is a master. You wouldn't believe the number of reviews that say that word. This is The Daughter of Dr. Moreau. It's a retelling of The Island of Dr. Moreau, H.G. Wells, 1896, kind of one of the first science fiction novels. This is a spin on it set in the Yucatan Peninsula in, I don't remember the decade, but a long time ago. And I'm her publicist, it's okay, I think. But in any case, the doctor has a daughter, and the daughter has, an affliction that she has to take injections for, and, we don't know what the affliction is, but she's been afflicted with it since birth. Her life has been this normal, very average, living on a hacienda in the middle of nowhere in the jungle of Mexico. And one day, the very handsome son of her father's patron arrives, and her entire world changes. Also, there's a hot overseer that works at the hacienda that looks like Commodore Norrington. So, if you like Commodore Norrington, yes, definitely read this book. But obviously, things are spookier and freakier and way different than you would expect from the beginning. This is one of my favorite reads of all time. So, the next one's not me.
Yes, I will jump in here. Miss Peregrine's Museum of Wonders is a compendium to the 6-novel series. So if we have any fans of the Miss Peregrine series, whether you're just starting or you've read all 6 books, this is definitely a must-have. And it is written actually from the point of view of Miss Peregrine herself. So for those of you who know, she has a very signature dry voice. And in this book, she gives us tips, everything from how to blend in with normals to the most exciting time loops that you must visit. And she also introduces us to several new peculiars. So the reason why I'm talking about it on the audio side is that we are currently working with Ransom Riggs to incorporate some very unique listening elements into the audiobook to make this a very special listening experience. So definitely check this one out.
I'm back. So here we have Luda. The cover speaks for itself to a certain degree. This is the first novel ever by the amazing, accoladed, critically acclaimed comic artist Grant Morrison, probably one of the greatest living comic artists alive today. They wrote a novel, set in Glasgow, in an alternate Glasgow, where there are witchy drag queens that one drag queen has a student that she is teaching how to be a drag queen, and there's a bunch of magic involved in that process. So if you like Scotland or drag queens, this is the read for you.
I actually had a colleague who didn't come to Comic-Con who said, "Give me a galley of Luda, please." And I was telling my coworker about this, and she said, "Matthew told me to get him a galley of Luda." And then our third coworker said, "Matthew told me to get a galley of Luda." So he's getting 3 galleys.
Yeah, they're amazing. Grant is an unbelievable writer, and the story is just sparkling. The characters are effervescent. It is an amazing, amazing read. And it's queer, underground, nightlife, drag queens with magic. Oh my God, it's just very good.
Oh yeah, Breakdowns is I don't want to even call it a graphic memoir, but we all know Mouse by Art Spiegelman. banned wildly this year, which is insane. This is his like ruminations as a young artist, and it is from, I believe the original is from 1978 and has been out of print for years. We did a brief republication in 2008, but this is the expanded original edition with an introduction that is like as long as half the book, and it's also in paperback, so it's not like such a doorstop. But it's fantastic. It's not a super linear story. It's all of his, Art Spiegelman was a professional artist from age 16. So it's his art from then until 1978, and really talks about his love of early comics, a lot of the influences that you see when he went on to found Mad Magazine. And yeah, definitely not for kids. There is a lot of adult content in it, but it will be available in November. So look for it at your local bookstore.
All right, Dreams of Wakanda is an upcoming essay collection that focuses on the influence and cultural impact of Black Panther. So we have contributors who have written essays for this, from everyone to Ruthie Carter, who was the costume designer on the film. And in her essay, she discusses incorporating elements of Afro-futuristic design into her costumes. We have Trey Johnson, a writer who goes into the metaphoric qualities of vibranium. We have a college professor, Aaron C. Allen, who talks about the college course that he built and now teaches, focusing entirely upon Black Panther. So it's definitely one to read, especially if you are a fan of the film. And on the audio side, it will be narrated by a full cast. So a lot of the contributors are reading their own work, and it is being recorded right now.
So cool.
Yes, definitely one that we're all very excited about.
So Neverlanders is by Tom Taylor, and if some of you are familiar with his work, he wrote Nightwing and The Deceased. This is his latest graphic novel called Neverlanders, and it's basically a reimagined, fractured world of Peter Pan. These group of teens, they travel to Neverland expecting it to be like all the fun that it was in the movie, and it's definitely not that. It's a war zone, and these kids have to figure out a way to save it before the pirates take all the magic from it. And it's available next month, August 30th.
Me again, Laura Olympus. Who here reads Laura Olympus? Woo! Okay, this is the Eisner winning, as of yesterday, Eisner winning graphic novel. It is a collection, so we have 2 volumes available. It collects the webcomic, which is originally published on Webtoon. It's a contemporary retelling of the myth of Hades and Persephone. It is, I know I'm making a lot of broad statements, but it is my favorite thing that we publish, period, end of sentence. If you do not read Lore Olympus, you are missing out. It changed my life when I read it. It's critically acclaimed for a reason. It is one of the most precious, beloved, funny, serious, most amazing things that I've ever read. And it is also romantic and silly, and the art is magnificent. Our graphic novels collect the first 25 episodes, then the next 25 episodes, and then we have another one coming out in October, another 25 episodes. The webcomic right now is on season 3, and it has about 230 episodes, I think. So we're slowly making our way through the webcomic, but please pick up the graphic novel, read it, and then read all of it on Webtoon, and then wait for the other graphic novels to come out, and then buy those too. That is all.
Well, and I can second this. Jordan's hype is not exaggerated here. I've seen her in meetings, and that's practically all she can go on about. So it's real. She really, really loves this book.
This is the one book I wanted to talk about. No, I want to talk about all the books, but Lore Olympus, it really is great.
What If 2, some of you probably already have an advanced copy of this if you came by our booth. Randall Monroe is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of What If and How To. And this is the sequel in which he addresses more scientific hypothetical questions along with informative and highly amusing visual aids. So if you are wondering how a webcomic, because he is also the creator, of course, of XKCD, if you're wondering how that turns into a book that then turns into an audiobook, for those of you who are not familiar, Randall has a very distinctive voice that is almost a bit quirky, and this is all beautifully captured by the talent of Wil Wheaton, known for his Stand By Me and Star Trek fame. So Wil Wheaton continues his work narrating Randall Monroe following his narration on How To, and he will also be narrating What If too, so definitely look out for that soon.
Okay, and I'm very excited to talk about Sweet Valley Twins' Best Friends, which is a graphic novel adaptation of the Sweet Valley Twins series. It's the first one. I don't know about the rest of you, but I grew up reading Sweet Valley Kids, Sweet Valley Twins, and then Sweet Valley High, so I am super excited about this adaptation. It's full color, and it's updated for 2022. The illustrations are done by Mexican artist Claudia Aguirre, who is a GLAAD Media Award and Eisner Award nominee. So fantastic illustrations, bright, bold, really bring Jessica and Elizabeth to life. If you're not familiar, this is the start of the series, which finds inseparable identical twins Jessica and Elizabeth Wakefield starting middle school and learning to become their own persons. So Elizabeth is excited to organize a school newspaper, but Jessica is more interested in joining the exclusive Unicorn Club. So what will happen when the twins realize that they might not be as alike as they thought they were? So this is really just a modernized version of your childhood favorite, a contemporary middle grade graphic novel filled with heart, laughter, and lots of twins. And I'm very excited for it. I've read it already. It's fantastic. It comes out in November. I hope that you can add it to your bookshelf.
All right, I will let the Lucas on the Line rep start off, and then I can wrap us up with Stranger Things on this, or sorry, not Stranger Things, sorry. Been doing a lot of that this week. Wrapped us up with Star Wars on this slide. So Lucas on the Line, I will let you take it away.
Oh, yeah, I can start.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So this is one of our Stranger Things YA novels. It's going to tell the backstory of Lucas, if you're familiar with him. It's a thrilling adventure of Stranger Things, which continues where season 3 left off, with fan favorite Lucas Sinclair finally telling his story in his own words. The novel takes place between seasons 3 and 4 and shares more about Lucas's experience starting high school and joining the basketball team. He's been in the fight against the evil forces in his town since the beginning, but he's tired of feeling like an outsider. So when the start of high school presents Lucas with options beyond D&D and being bullied, he wonders if he can be more than invisible. After connecting with one of the few other Black students at school, Lucas starts to learn more about himself apart from his friend group and begins to understand himself as a Black teen in Hawkins, which feels unlike anything in this world or any other he's ever experienced. This is from Suyi Davies, a contributor to the New York Times best-selling Black Boy Joy, and it's an exploration of love and identity within the beloved Stranger Things universe through the eyes of Lucas Sinclair.
All right, now Star Wars. I don't know if we have any Star Wars fans here. Yes. This is my Lore Olympus, hence my Leia hair for the day. So first off, we have Princess and the Scoundrel, which can best be summarized as the Han and Leia wedding book. And I personally am very excited about this. This picks up right when Return of the Jedi ends. And we get to see the wedding, we get to see the honeymoon, which is of course interrupted probably by some stormtroopers. And for the audio, because the book is divided into Han and Leia chapters, it is a dual narration. So we have well-known Star Wars narrator Mark Thompson reading for Han Solo, and Saskia Marleveld continuing her work reading for Leia after she read Leia, Princess of Alderaan back in 2017. And then we have a re-recording of an older Legends title, Darth Maul Shadowhunter, And this is very exciting in and of itself because the marvelous Sam Witwer, who voiced Maul in the animated series The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, will be reading the book as Maul. And actually all of the characters. I don't know if anyone has seen him do his lovely Star Wars impressions on YouTube. This book is fantastic. And I actually have a preview clip to share with you all to just reveal how great this book is.
Before the hooded figure's image had time to solidify, Maul dropped to one knee and bowed his head. Master, what do you wish of your servant? The Sith Lord regarded his apprentice.
I am pleased with the way you dealt with the Black Sun assignment. The organization will be in disarray for years.
Right?
Maul stands rise.
Yes. I started listening to this on the plane here, and my jaw dropped when I first heard his Sidious, because it's basically Ian McDermott. Okay, Star Wars gushing over.
Oh wait, come to our booth for our Princess and the Scoundrel activation.
Yes, you can get a picture with Han and Leia with the Endor backdrop at our booth 1515. And you get to see the dress in the full, down to all her lovely shoes.
I also really, if you're planning to propose this weekend, I got a place for you. That's all just come tell me before so I can take a
Photo
picture.
op ready made.
Seriously.
All right, Violet Maid of Thorns is back with me. This is the must-read fantasy debut of summer 2022. It is actually out next week on the 26th, on Tuesday. It's a darkly enchanting fantasy debut narrated by a sharp and sardonic anti-heroine, and it features a morally gray witch, a cursed prince, and a prophecy that ignites their fate-twisted destinies. It's written by Chinese-American author Gina Chen, and centers an Asian main character, drawing out themes of Asian diaspora, and unravels Eurocentric fairy tale tropes, setting this fantasy novel apart from the pack. Gina Chen is a rising star in the YA fantasy world. Her storytelling is top tier, and her prose will enchant readers. And so this book has curses, balls, court secrets, and encroaching darkness in the fairywood. So if you're hungry for lush fairy tale tinged fantasy in the vein of popular bestsellers like The Cruel Prince, House of Salt and Sorrows, and A Curse So Dark and Lonely, this is going to be your next favorite book.
Yes, and Thistlefoot is a upcoming book that is based on Eastern European and Jewish folklore. So an estranged brother and sister realize that they are left an inheritance, like long lost 70 years ago. And what they discover is this inheritance is actually a house. And it is a house with sort of like talon legs that moves around. And as the house describes itself, the house is sort of a character in the book, and it says, "I was very bad poultry, but I'm a very good house." And the brother and sister sort of work on mending their relationship, and they're both kind of storytellers in their own rights. The brother is a grifter and a street performer, and the sister is a woodworker. They come from a family of puppet makers. So it really is about ancestors and storytelling and how you carry that on through generations. It's really fun, it's really weird, and we're giving away copies at booth 1515 tomorrow at 10:30. So grab a galley then.
Me again. All right, if anyone here has read Malice, yeah, hell yeah. This is the sequel to Malice, which I can sum up for you very quickly and easily. It is gay Sleeping Beauty. So if you too, like some of us, wish that Aurora ended up with Maleficent, this is the read for you. It's amazing. It's set in, it's set in a different fantasy world. It's not exactly, but it's a retelling of Sleeping Beauty, in which, set in this world called Briar, in which the Dark Grace, Alice, is both praised and reviled for her powers and all she wants is to leave this kingdom and just be done with it. And then she meets Aurora, and she's like, okay, maybe I'll stick around. So things happen. Yeah, Gay Sleeping Beauty. Definitely read it.
Okay, talk wordy to me. This is my favorite slide because it's all the romance novels. And I'm also having a very, a proud mom moment because now I get to talk to you about my author. She is my best bud. She is the legend. She's the woman who put STEAM in STEM. Her name is Allie Hazelwood. And you might know her from her New York Times bestselling mega hit, The Love Hypothesis. But she has a new book out. It's called Love on the Brain. It's out next month. Grab a copy. And I like to describe it to my friends as an enemies to lovers rom-com starring two rival scientists who work at NASA, and they fall in love while trying to design a fancy space helmet. Because nothing is more romantic than NASA and fancy space helmets. I know you've all been checking out the stormtroopers as you walk around. And speaking of, we can't talk about Allie without talking about her fanfic roots. So she is a diehard Reylo. Oh yeah. So if you love Star Wars, if you love Swoon, if you love Adam Driver, you are our people, and we gladly welcome you to the Alleyverse. So, please stop by our booths and say hello. We might be out, but maybe Mysterious Galaxy has some at their booth.
Yeah, we're definitely out of the booth.
If you have that picture of Adam Driver holding a bottle saved to your desktop, this is the read for you.
Yeah.
No one else knows what that is? Okay.
No, we know.
The people who know.
So speaking of Reylo, though, Allie is not the only one who, was inspired by Star Wars. So was Ashley Poston of The Dead Romantics. But it was actually Reylo and Adam's Family mashup, which, I know what you're thinking, right? How has no one ever come up with this before? It's so obvious, this combination. But, the basic pitch is that a jaded novelist returns home to her family's funeral home, Adam's family, right? And then she's confronted by the ghosts of her past. And one of them, quite literally, he is her editor, and he shows up, as a ghost. And he wants her unfinished book. And so, of course, there's a happy ending, right? It's a romance novel, and they fall in love. But I have to say, as an editor, haunting your authors to get them to turn in their late books is a strategy I haven't heard of, but I might be trying it. So our professional relationship with my author, it's about to change. Yeah.
Well, I love this book so much. It was so much fun.
It's so great. It's such a fun read. And then it's me again. Okay, so finally for me, we have Mr. Malcolm's List by Suzanna Lane. This is for the Bridgerton fans out there. This is perfect for you. It was just made into a movie starring Frida Pinto, and you can see that's the movie tie-in cover. You should watch it. It's so well done. The cast is amazing. The costumes are beautiful. Oh my God. But based on an incredible book. And the story is that a very arrogant gentleman has this ridiculous list of qualifications for a wife. And it's also about the woman who decides to give him his comeuppance. So basically, if the Pride and Prejudice fist clench thing is if you're a fan of that, this will work for you.
And I've now entered the prop portion of my presentation. You maybe know Gabrielle Zevin from The Storied Life of A.J. Fikry. I actually remember her from Elsewhere, which was a very formative book in my childhood. So Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow is almost difficult to pitch because it's just great writing, and that's like the best selling point of it. But it's about two friends who are both video game geeks, and they decide to develop a video game together. It's filled with like 80s and 90s nostalgia. We're talking Oregon Trail within the first 2 chapters, Zelda, Donkey Kong, and I know I'm becoming my mother, but I'm just gonna read you a short passage. I'm so sorry, I'll be very brief, but I've marked the page and everything. So this is told by one of our main characters, Sam. How could a person still be as young as he objectively knew himself to be and have had so much time pass? I was having a good day before I read that. It's fantastic. I'm so sorry we're sold out at the booth, but like, please buy it, or please come to booth 15 and talk to me about it. It's fantastic.
Oh, that's me. Hello. Sorry. So The Beautiful is actually one of my favorites. Renee Audier she writes so beautifully, and this series is set in 19th century New Orleans. Sorry. And as you're reading the series, or this first book in particular, you can just feel the culture, you can feel the world come to life. She's just a beautiful writer. Don't read this book when you're hungry, because when she gets into real detail. But yeah, it's very beautifully written. It's a murder mystery, it's vampires, sexy romance, enemies to lovers romance. It's just, yeah. Is it hitting your sweet spots? So this is the first book in the series. It's available now, but the last book, the conclusion, The Ruined, is on sale next February, and you can pre-order it now. Yeah, I love it. It's a good book.
And that wraps up our recommendations that we have for you all.
Yay! However, we are taking questions, so if anyone has any questions for us, we'll try to answer them.
We will try to answer them, yes.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
Is there anything in Lore Olympus about Persephone's background, like her originally being called Thorns?
Sorry, I can't. Come a little bit closer. Yeah, come. You can speak your question to the microphone.
Is there anything about, or is there any part in Lore Olympus where we talk about Persephone's background and her original name as Kor?
Why, yes, indeed. It's almost like I planted you in the audience. No, I didn't, but yes, Lore Olympus, the first volume follows Kore, who is, the daughter of Demeter. She's leaving Earth and coming to Olympus to attend college, and she goes to a club, and she runs into this hunk, Hades, and, all right, we're not on fire or anything. And they're not supposed to meet, but they do, and there's a prank played on her that ends up with Hades having to take her home with him because Aphrodite plays a mean prank on her. But there are foreshadowings to the future of when you see her time as Kore on Earth before she put on her mantle of goddesshood and became Persephone. So you're gonna have to read more to get to that part, but Volume 1 pretty much concludes with, some inter-god drama and inter-god stuff happening in Olympus, in the town. I can't tell you more, I don't want to spoil it, but yes, we do get into her as Kore. Any other questions? Yeah, sure.
What are you guys reading right now?
I can start, because it's an easy question. I am going back into the old Thrawn books, and so I currently started the second original, so there's 3 Thrawn trilogies, but I'm on Dark Force Rising, because when I finished the Obi-Wan series, I just needed more Leia in my life, and that is where I got it. But yes, it's great so far.
I am rereading the Red Rising saga. As one does, because, there was a huge announcement this week Pierce came to San Diego and announced Lightbringer, book 6, and Red God, book 7, surprise. But Red Rising is one of my favorite series of all time. I also happen to work for Del Rey, but that was a coincidence. It is some of the best writing, storytelling, oh my God. If you haven't read Red Rising, you're not living. But that first line, if there's one thing you need to know about me, it's that I'm my father's son. Whew, chills. That comes full circle for our friend Pax. So, Red Rising, you should also read it if you haven't. Ow!
So I am rereading the Vampire Academy series with the, I know, I love that series so much. If you guys don't know this, the Peacock Show channel network is releasing, streaming, thank you, a new series called The Vampire Academy based on the books in September. I'm very excited by it. I'm just really excited by it. And just like rereading the books, it brings me back all the way to high school, which is kind of traumatizing, but it's fine.
The books are so good though.
I have, for the plane, Jasmine Guillory's newest, Drunk on Love. Ooh. She's just amazing.
Can't go wrong. I've been reading, or I just finished Meddling Kids by Edgar Quintero, and it is a really fun, it's such a fun take on the oh my gosh, what are they called? Those Meddling Kids. Scooby and the Gang. Thank you. Yes. I love the way he messes with the characters. He makes it a queer love story. The highest praise I can give it is I can't believe it's written by a man. So.
I feel like I should mention one of the kids' books I'm working on, but I'm not going to. I'm going to talk about Nothing But the Truth, which is an audiobook I'm reading from us. I believe it's Dutton. And I'm listening to the audiobook. I was doing it on the plane, and I'll finish it on the plane ride home. And it's about a woman who kind of somehow manages to get some kind of truth serum and can't do anything but tell the truth all day. And it's one of the more wild and exciting days of her life. So I do recommend it. I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome. Any more questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit more about Red Rising, books 6 and 7?
Yes, May 2nd, 2023. Way to put me on the spot there. What can I tell you? Well, what do we know at the end of Dark Age? The Boys Are Back in Town by Thin Lizzy is playing. Their spaceship is departing Venus. I'm obviously not at Dark Age yet because I just started Red Rising again. I can't tell you much, to be honest. I'm not allowed to give anything away other than Pierce has been working very hard. He pretty much deleted an entire book worth of writing because he wasn't feeling it, it wasn't right, it wasn't the story that was meant to be told. But this one's gonna be fun, you know? This is the catharsis that we've all been waiting for. That is all I will say on that. Okay, any more questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Anything new coming from Kevin Hearn?
We are re-releasing the Hexed, Hounded, oh my God, what's the series called? Thank you, everyone. Some publicist. Yeah, we're re-releasing the Iron Druid Chronicles with new covers, new format, everything. I do think there's stuff coming down the pike, but I'm not absolutely certain. So I would just keep up to date on his social media, website, everything, any announcement. And if you don't follow all of our respective imprints on social media, you should, because that's where we put all of our important announcement information. At Del Rey Books, at Random House.
At PRH Audio?
Yep.
Penguin Teen.
Oh yeah.
Berkley and Berkley Romance.
Doubleday Books.
Random House Kids and Get Underlined.
Yes. And if you're not following Penguin Teen on TikTok, what are you even doing?
Thank you very much. It's not me, though.
Anything else? Yeah, go ahead.
And this may be too much
Yeah, I can hear you.
Being turned into like a TV show or a movie. At one point, it seemed like I don't know, Ellen DeGeneres was going to was going to lead a mark on that. I don't know if it's right there or what was happening.
Any updates? The short answer is no updates. The long answer is that Hollywood is fickle. So things come and go and get optioned, and then the rights revert, and I'm not sure where in that process Uprooted is, if it's secretly in development or, if whatever. I don't know, but what I can tell you is that no updates probably means that some block is in the way. I know that Universal has, I believe, optioned all the rights for the Scallamance, so Naomi's got some stuff coming down the pike when it comes to the big screen. But then again, maybe it won't get made, so we don't know. Anyone else? Okay.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
out. Yeah.
Thank you.